Jervis and Germs, welcome to NJ Today. You're watching this either on YouTube or on mishmashers.com. My name's McConaughey, and for today's edition, let's put our hands together and get ready to discuss the Star Wars film series. If you're familiar with the Mishmash podcast, where I discuss various topics alongside my older brother Scott Moore, then you know I've already went ahead and at least dabbled in the series from a critical standpoint, which includes an hour-long discussion of Star Wars The Last Jedi and nearly an hour talking about Rogue One and Star Wars The Force Awakens. Sheesh. And if you didn't succumb yourself to our uhs and improvisational opinions, or maybe you just hate Scott for some reason, this video might just be the drone you're looking for, so strap in, young Padawan, as I go back and look at the Star Wars film series, giving my thoughts on each of them and finding out where they each fall as far as my rankings are concerned. Let's start off by talking about my connection with the Star Wars franchise by emphasizing the fact that I don't have one. When I was a kid, I found something to enjoy from the Star Wars series, for sure, but as the years progressed, I lost interest. This viewing of the prequel trilogy for this video was actually the first time I'd even seen Attack of the Clones or Revenge of the Sith. After watching Star Wars The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi recently, however, I decided I want to go ahead and give them a revisit. If nothing else, then because I wanted to be able to honestly say I went to them with an open mind. In Star Wars The Phantom Menace, the setting is 32 years prior to the events of Star Wars A New Hope, and follows Jedi Knights Qui-Gon Jinn and his apprentice Obi-Wan Kenobi in their efforts to protect Queen Amidala. This is all because they want to assure a peaceful end to this large-scale, interplanetary trade dispute. But along in their journey, just like that fantastic Weird Al song suggests, maybe Vader someday later, they come across a young Anakin Skywalker, a young slave that has unusual capabilities with the Force, and all of it comes together to set the groundworks for the return of the Sith. As one might expect, this film did remarkably well at the box office, generating over $1 billion in profit for those involved, which is even more impressive when you consider that's without adjusting for inflation, and that it had a budget of about half what, let's say, The Force Awakens or The Last Jedi had. It's clear that anticipation was high for The Phantom Menace, but it is also clear that those expectations weren't met. The film received mixed to negative reviews, and in my opinion, is the biggest reason that the prequel trilogy receives the bad rap that it does. But is the film really that bad? Or is it just Star Wars fans with jaded cynicism? Honestly, no, it isn't that bad. It's much, much worse. Let me preface this by echoing what I said earlier about how I hadn't seen Attack of the Clones or Revenge of the Sith. This is because every time I made an effort to marathon the series, I'd sit through this film and I'd have to resist the urge to sew together a Jar Jar Binks doll, and resist the urge to spend my nights punching it over and over again. Why aren't you better? As I prefaced at the beginning, I don't have any deep-rooted affection for the Star Wars franchise, but I do the best I can at approaching every film with an open mind. Unfortunately, I honestly can't say there's a whole lot I liked about this film. In an effort of survival, I went to Twitter and I shared my thoughts every now and again as I watched the film. I did this also as a point of reference, in case it was a little while before I was able to get around to doing this review. In short, I liked two parts of this film in total. I enjoyed Liam Neeson's performance as Qui-Gon Jinn, and I enjoyed the pod racing with young Anakin. That's it, that's all. And if we're being honest, I didn't enjoy Qui-Gon Jinn that much, and the pod races themselves came off as messier than they did fun, and ultimately were built like the science fiction equivalent of, oh, we need $250 fast, what a coincidence, a dance competition, what luck. And obviously I know it wasn't as on the nose as that, but the sequences of events themselves felt awfully shoehorned. First and foremost, Jar Jar Binks is awful. Although perhaps in some respects revolutionary, acting as a prelude to the motion capturing animation that brought us, Gollum from Lord of the Rings and eventually Caesar from Planet of the Apes, it doesn't change the fact the animation was hideous and was far more off-putting than what should be overlooked. The voice acting and dialogue for the character is dreadful, and it isn't simply that his voice sounds like nails on a chalkboard, but rather the comedic timing and delivery lack, and he muscles up a cringe-worthy cheese that challenges the Christmas special for Christ's sake. And so yeah, he's bad, but Obi-Wan Kenobi is bad too, and I say this as someone who enjoys Ewan McGregor, although entirely for Trainspotting, but this character is dull and tedious all the way through, and it doesn't help matters that Qui-Gon Jinn's character plays it so straight and has no one to balance it out. The young Anakin Skywalker is bad as well. At first, I felt wrong about saying this, because I felt bad about saying a little kid did bad in a film role. But it's the truth, and the director should have brought more out of him and should have written him better material. At some sequences in this film, it comes off like a children's film, with juvenile solutions to situations and go-lucky theatrics, making this film feel more like a hokey, cartoonish, and stupid film you'd roll your eyes at while watching on the Sci-Fi Channel than it does an installment in a multi-billion-dollar franchise. The storyline itself on paper isn't necessarily bad. Obviously, The Phantom Menace doesn't have the high stakes of the original Star Wars series. The film is about peace agreements and a young slave who we're well aware will end up becoming Darth Vader. And although those aspects don't necessarily come off as exciting, with solid characters and well written dialogue, as well as inspired action scenes, the concept of the Phantom Menace could have been achieved. Unfortunately, Darth Maul's memorable and distinctive look doesn't pave the way for a memorable or distinctive antagonist. The action scenes featured in this film are slow and don't come off as though a lot of time went into them. The situation unfolds and folds back up in a whimper, and it's with that ho-hum tedium my enthuse for a Star Wars marathon dissipates, and I have to use the proverbial force to continue forth. I think Star Wars The Phantom Menace is a very bad film, but I don't discount the opinion of others, and I would be more than happy to hear what viewers think about Star Wars The Phantom Menace. Did you enjoy the film? If you did or didn't, I hope you will join me on my next video as I delve deeper in the series, taking a look at Attack of the Clones. My name's McConaughey from Mishmashers.com, and I'll see you when I talk about Episode 2.